blessed week? And how was everybody's Thanksgiving? Like, we had such a, a big holiday that just passed, one of the big ones. And I hope everybody didn't eat and overindulge too much, or at least I try not to. But, I just hope that everybody enjoyed their families and spend time with their children and husbands and wives and things like that, and just got a good chance to be able to catch up with one another, because that's usually what it's about. These holidays are just typically to give us some time to like catch up. Like, what is everybody doing? So I do hope that you guys have been blessed. I hope that you guys haven't been stressed out or worrying about too many things that is out of your control. And I hope that you've allowed God to come into your hearts and your minds this week to saturate your atmosphere for you, to just help you with things that you've been battling with, and only that he knows. So I just hope that you guys are doing well. And I've had a pretty interesting Thanksgiving. It did start with spending a little time with my family at my aunt's house, and but it kind of led to a hospital visit. And as I stated before, my grandmother had actually ended up going back into the hospital on last Tuesday, right after the broadcast. She had been in ICU and things like that. So my grandmother's a fighter, y'all, and the only thing I can really say is that life still happens. And sometimes we forget that just because, like, you're on an assignment, or you're at your job, or you're dealing with your kids, life still happens, because just in an instant, and, talking to my family members, they were saying that she was doing okay at first, and it didn't look like anything was wrong. And just in a second, something changed, And I just wanted to, just thank God that that she's fine. She's still alive. She's still breathing. It may not be the way I want her to be, but I am definitely glad that she's still around. She's still coherent to what we're saying to her. She's still responding to us. So, and many people can't say that in a situation, but I can. So I'm so glad and so thankful that she's still here. And I didn't let it dampen my spirits, because you got to know that when you're on assignment, things are going to come up, and it doesn't even matter like what I just got off the broadcast to inspire and motivate to somebody else. And the thing is, I have to eat my own words. Like, the same thing I'm telling and pouring into you guys week after week after week, I have to be ready to deal with my giants too, So I'm going to tell you guys, tonight I want you to prepare your hearts and your minds. And I'm going to focus my attention tonight on the married couples. And all of you married couples, if you're on and you're listening, I want you, and if you know some married couples, I want you to share this broadcast with them. And I want you to make it your business that it gets to them, because I have an email that I need to give to them, so they can take it and eat it and do whatever they need to do to get it in their spirits that this is not going to be an easy walk. And for those of you that are single, and those of you that are in relationship with each other, I want you to be able to understand that it's not going to be a walk in the park, right? Everything comes with a challenge and a test. And if you can get past that, then you're going to be fine, right? So that everybody, whoever is under the sound of my voice right now, I just want you to take into what I'm getting ready to talk to you about tonight. And I want you to understand that this is a topic that's very, very fragile, I think, because if you're dealing with some things, it might hit home and it might not, But I just want you to take it and be able to use it and apply it to your life, in your everyday life. So tonight is going to be about for better, for worse. And for better, for worse is just what that title is. When you take those vows and you're walking down that aisle, you do not know what you're going to be up against 2 years from now or 3 years from now. And the funniest thing is, I love this movie, War Room. And if anybody knows about this movie, you will understand the reason why I like that movie so, so much. And I think that it gives a clear picture of what married couples face day in and day out, right? And if you haven't seen it, you have a homework assignment for me. Go see it. And not wives by yourself, and not men by yourself, not husbands by themselves. I want you both to go sit and watch this movie. Because whoever, came up with this movie, they had to dig deep, or whoever the person was had to literally kind of walk in the shoes of this to be able to display such a movie, And I was sitting there watching it, and something dropped in my spirit as always. And I was just like, oh my goodness. Everybody needs a war room in their house. They need one to be able to go into that room and fight in prayer. And the thing is, like, some people don't even know how powerful prayer is, especially when you're going through, but mainly period. Like, a lot of people just pray when things are going wrong. But typically you are supposed to pray when things are going good, when they're going bad. You're supposed to pray all the time because you never know. And we talked about this last week about giants that come up as you're going into, working on your visions and how things are going to come up, and you have to be prepared for it. Well, it's the same thing with marriage, right? And I've been married for almost going on 10 years, and coming into June of 2018, it will be 10 years. And I thank God. It's because a lot of people don't stay married anymore. And let's technically be honest, like, divorce rate is, like, seriously high. And because people, they give up, instantly, or certain things come up and they can't deal with it. But I'm here to shed peace on your minds and in your thoughts about your marriage. Right? So if you have your notebook, I'm always going to tell you guys this, take notes, right? Because I always feel like if you're writing something down and you're taking notes, you're going to go back to it. You know what I'm saying? You're going to go back to it. You're going to refer back to it. You're going to be like, oh, I heard this. I did this. Like, I want you to get in the habit of taking notes, right? So when you have been waiting so long for love to, like, come into your life, and some of you may have prayed about it over and over and over and over, asking God, please send me a mate, send me a woman, send me a man. And you really don't know when it's coming, but you know that you've prayed this prayer several times. And some of you envision who you would like to become your husband or your ideal husband or your ideal wife, even before you actually see them in the flesh, if that makes sense. We all have basically wrote down our characteristics of what we want in that man or that woman. I can testify to that before my husband came into my life. I will actually say that you have a vision of who you want to be with, who they got to be like. You have all of these things in your mind already, right? And some of you even get down to, oh, she got to be wearing the flyest gear. Her hair got to stay done. Oh, he can't stay, with his mom, or he can't be too tall or too short, or, oh, he can't be working at Burger King. So many different things that sometimes are not even important when you're talking about your husband and or wife, right? So these are the things that you hope that you get or you don't get, right? And we've all been there. Some of you single people that may be listening probably know what I'm saying. Like, you have a certain kind of something that you're looking for, and sometimes you'll either settle or you won't. You know what I mean? So then it's like when you find someone and you get married, right? There are some weddings that are small, And I know some of you have been to them. Justice of the Peace can be one of them. And then you have some that are big and extravagant and lots of family and lots of friends and just lots of everything. Anything that a woman probably have ever dreamed of since they were little, right? And then some of you already have children born into the marriage. And then there's that desire to have a child. And there's that percentage of that woman and that man who have had medical issues that have stopped them from bringing forth life, right? And I'm going to stop right there because as I was sitting and pondering about this early part of this week, I was saying to myself, it's a lot of hurting married couples out here, and they're hurting because they have a desire to have a child, but they can't for whatever reason. But I stopped by today to tell you that there is a reason for everything, and remember, for better or for worse. And the thing is that some of us women, we get emotional because we want to bear this child, and we see ourselves having these children, and you look at other families and you're like, oh my gosh, they're having a baby. And, I can't. Let me tell you something. I'm a firm believer in that if you sow a seed, right, and I'm not talking about monetary, like money or anything like that. Sowing a seed can be the simplest thing. And I'm going to tell y'all, it worked for me. You know how many times me and my husband already had 2 children, 2 boys, right? And I kept saying, I don't feel complete. I don't feel complete because I don't have my daughter. And I remember writing on a hanger in my house, and I wrote down the date, and I put a onesie. I got a onesie from the Dollar Tree, and it was pink. And I wrapped it up and put it on that hanger, and I said, you know what, God, this is my seed that I'm going to sow because I believe you have a daughter for me. I had her name picked out. God had given me visions 3-4 years prior to me actually having this little girl and it was telling me all the telltale signs of me having a little girl. And you know how when you get wrapped up in the gossip of you're going to have another boy and you ain't going to have no girl. If you listen to the negativity, because that's what negativity is, you know what I mean? Like, you're listening to people say, oh, you're not. Oh, it ain't going to happen. You'll start to believe after a while that won't happen, but then you'll forget what God has already showed you and told you, right? And I remember saying that I'm going to get my daughter, and I know what her name is, and that's all it is to it. And to this day, y'all, this is my testimony, and I will keep telling it over and over again. She is very much here. She's 2 years old right now. And it's because me and my husband didn't give up on the mere thought of us having a daughter. We knew we were going to have a daughter. We didn't know when she was coming or when the order was, but she came. And I believe it's because of the prayers that I sowed and the prayers that my husband sowed and the prayers that my oldest child sowed. He's little when he said, Mommy, I'm praying my sister down from heaven. I said, well, go ahead, baby. We're going to pray together. And I'm telling you that these things come together for the good, and they work out because of the belief, the faith. Even when you don't see it, you still have to believe it, right? So I'm talking to those mothers who have had medical problems. I'm talking to the husbands that don't know how to console your wife when she's crying and she's balled up in the bed saying, oh, I can't do this. Oh, I will never have a child. You rest assured today that is over with. You cancel it. You say that, yes, we will have a child. God, when you're ready to bring him or her forth, you can do that with your faith. You can move God with that alone. You can move God with that. You can move God with the faith that I don't see how this is going to work for me, but I believe it. I believe it. I believe it when I don't physically see it. So those are for the couples that are struggling right now with those things, with infertility problems, right? You got to stand on your faith regardless of what it looks like. So marriage is 100%, y'all. Not 50-50. I said it's 100%. Both man and woman. Nothing is going to be perfect about you, and nothing is going to be perfect about him. Nothing will be made easy for him, and nothing's going to be made easy for her. You will both be tested during your marriage. There is a test down the road for both of you. You're not getting away from anything because you said I do to him or her. Most of you think, oh, it's just the glitz and the glamour, and that's it. No, boo. It's something else coming down that pipe hole that you got to be ready for. Again, we're going back to facing the giant. That's a big giant coming down there. You don't know what it's going to do. You don't know how it's coming, but you have to be in preparation, right? There will be days where neither one of you is feeling it. There are going to be days where sometimes you might want to, just lay there and do nothing. And you don't want to get up and you don't want to go out the door because of however you're feeling. And it's times that he's going to sit quiet and you're going to be like, well, why are you not talking to me? You know what? Sometimes you don't even know if God is talking to your husband because he's so quiet. Men have a tendency of being very, very quiet, and we think that it's something else. Oh, you got an attitude. I'm guilty of it because when my husband shut out, be like, what is going on? You got an attitude today? But when really it can be him thinking of the next process for the family, right? Men have to take time to think about what else is next for their family. So don't always assume that it's an attitude, or don't always assume that he doesn't want to be bothered. It can be, oh, God may be dealing with him, right? Learn how to not be stressed and overwhelmed by your family or your friends, because sometimes when you're stressed and overwhelmed over those things, you take it into your marriages, right? Learn how to deal with what needs to be dealt with, and learn how to deal with things that are not necessarily meant for you to deal with. Stop taking on things that don't have anything to do with you. Some things you can leave alone. You don't have to put your hands in everything, right? And we wives have a tendency of doing that, when sometimes we need to just relax, right? So, and that means not stressing over a job too much, right? Because you just never know. You never know. Any little stress can really send your marriage into distress because both of you are stressed out, and you're not communicating the way that you should be communicating because you're stressed and he's stressed and you're stressed, and then there's the yelling and there's the bickering. You have to keep it at a minimum. Sometimes you might have to keep it in prayer and not necessarily say it out of your mouth, if you can understand what I mean, right? So when your life is going well, right, everybody's happy. You barely hear any arguments. You're good. He's good. You hear people say, oh, marriage is good. I'm loving y'all, and I'm loving this, and I'm loving that. You be on your honeymoon, and you be positive, and you be motivated. But then what happens when something hits, right, and something changes? And then you can get a call that your husband just got laid off from his job. And then us as the wife, we start to worry and we panic, which is normal, but you don't have time to waste on worrying about who lost their job and things like that, because at that point, we need to begin to make preparation and make plans so that we don't stay in that feeling and in that moment, right? Sometimes things are thrown so that to see what your reaction is going to be. It's thrown to see what your reaction is going to be. And some of us don't know how to handle things because we start panicking before anything even can come to, a good result, or whatever the result is going to be. We just start to panic automatically without even sitting down, thinking first. what is the plan, or what is God trying to tell me? We panic before we even hear anything God has to say. I'm guilty of that too. Right? So you find out that your husband lost his job. So that means one income is taken away. I've been there, done that, y'all. I've been there, done that, where I've lost the job, and then my husband turned around and lost the job 4 months later. Back to back, right? No signs of nothing. Everything going good, right? So here comes your test. The test, are you going to walk out because he doesn't have a job? Or are you going to help him and support him? Because although men don't show that they're naturally going through something like how women do, we wear our emotions on our face all the time, and we let people know that we're emotional. Well, men really don't do that. So what do? Do you help him, or do you keep battering him and keep saying, oh, you need to hurry up and get up? Some things, women, we have to watch what we're saying. We have to watch what we're saying to them, right? You find out later on, oh, the bills are getting piled up, right? Because there's not enough income coming in. Tension starts flying. Your nerves get rattled. All of that. We all are guilty of these things. But the thing is, we got to find a better way to deal with it when we're talking about for better or for worse. Because everything ain't going to be better all the time. There's some worse up in there, too. Them vows are strong now. It means something behind them vows. And I don't think people understand that when they take them vows, you taking a whole lot. But the thing is, you cannot let these things tear your marriage up, no matter what happens. No matter what happens, you have to keep the faith and believe in your spouse. And you have to keep the positivity rolling through your marriage, because the devil likes confusion. And he uses those sometimes that are close to us to bring that other side out of us. So you have to be able to recognize these things, y'all. Y'all got to be able to recognize them. You got to learn how to deal with things a little better than what we've been doing in our marriages if we're going to have lasting, long marriages. Because every little thing shouldn't send us in a roar like that, right? So another thing that I hear, and I know some of you can contest to this, I hear mothers bashing their husbands for working at fast food restaurants, or, you know, the lights get turned off, or food getting low. There are some women who will bash their husband so bad, like, hello, they do have a heart and they do have self-esteem just like we do. You have to be careful what you say out of your mouth. And that goes for the man or the woman. Most things happen because they're supposed to happen. It's a part of your test. It's a part of your journey and your marriage. I've told you guys so many times that you have people that are assigned to you. So that means in your marriages too. There is another young married couple that's coming up somewhere along the way that is going to need you to help aid them through their marriage, because you've already been there, done that. And then there may be a single woman or a single man that's looking at you, and they want to know, well, how did you get through this? The lights got turned off. Food got low. You found out one of your kids had a disability. How did you deal with that? And I'm throwing that out there because that's me. That's my testimony, y'all. People are still asking, how did you and your husband get to 9.5 years of marriage through y'all becoming homeless, him losing his job, you losing your job, two of your boys have disabilities? Hello, like, these are the things that are supposed to take you out in your marriage. You're not supposed to survive it. But if we had allowed the enemy to come in and do what we know that he can do, we wouldn't be still married. Nothing's ever made easy, y'all. Take it for what I'm telling y'all. It is supposed to happen this way. You are supposed to go through. You are supposed to go through your test and stay face-to-face lined up with your giants, because that's going to help build y'all, right? If y'all don't never go through nothing, how you going to know how to fight? So if you see a fighter, and I love using these analogies, if you see a fighter in the ring, don't you think they got to go through preparation before they start going through all of these different matches and things like that up against all of these people? They can't go in that ring unprepared. They got to go up in there ready and equipped for these people, because they don't know who they about to fight. That's the same thing the same way that you have to look at your marriage. You got to treat that thing like you are going in a ring, and it's you against the enemy. And if you're not prepared and equipped and got armor from head to toe, you're going to lose every battle that comes your way, because you're not ready. You're not ready. You have to get ready. Going back to the War Room movie, everybody needs to have one in their house, because everybody needs an escape go away sometimes to go in there and yield and stretch out and surrender and ask God, God, what do I do? My husband ain't doing well emotionally today. I don't know how to communicate today. Help us, God. You got to get on your knees every day when you're in marriage and you're fighting like that. You have to. That's your preparation time. That's to get you ready for whatever the day may bring that might throw you off because you weren't expecting it. You have to stay ready, y'all. Being in marriage is work. You got homework every day that you're married to that person. And don't think for a second that you're going to learn a person in 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. I've been married for going on 10 years, and I'm still learning new things about my husband each and every day. Because that's the way it's supposed to be. Because you're supposed to be evolving, and you're supposed to be changing, and the better you is supposed to be stepping forth while you're in your marriages, going through year after year. You get wiser. You get stronger. You be able to handle more that comes down the line when you're doing these things, right? And the fathers, the husbands, some of you complain. Oh, you shop too much. I've heard it, y'all. I've heard it. You get your hair done too much. But guess what? You knew this about this woman before you married her. And this is what I don't get. You know these things about these people before you get married to them. These are not telltale signs that were not there. They were there. You just choose not to pay attention to it. And it always seems to take me back to signs and warnings. These are the things that were there that you didn't want to pay attention to. Or you may have fallen so deep in love that you just didn't see it at the time. It's okay. But I want you to understand that you complaining isn't going to change anything. It's not going to change anything, because this is who this person was when you married them. You knew she liked to shop. You knew she liked to stay fly. But there are ways that you can compromise without tearing her down or making her feel that she has to completely change the person that she is to accommodate you and what's going on with you. There are ways that you can do these things, and that's what I'm trying to teach you all tonight, that there are ways that we have to learn how to communicate. If we don't like something about our spouse, you can't beat them and tear them down. You got to find ways to get in there and find out what's going to work for both of you so that you will have a lasting and a stronger marriage. You knew your husband drank. You knew your husband smoked. You knew your wife liked to go out and club with her friends. You decide what you want to do. Come on, y'all. Stay with me. This is the real deal that I'm talking about, because these are the things that people are going through in their marriages. How do I stop them from smoking cigarettes? Pray for them. That's number one. And just because these people do these things, it doesn't take away from who they are or who God can shape them to be. I've often heard me and my father have these conversations so many times, y'all, and he's told me, you can be the biggest drinker and the biggest smoker there is in life, right? The biggest liar, the biggest, whatever you can think of that comes to your mind at this very moment. But when God steps in and he does a new thing with you, that is what's going to make the difference. Because God can still use you in that very moment as that smoker, as that drinker, as that chronic shopper. God can do whatever he wants to do with you, right? You as that wife and that husband, you all have to learn how to take these things into prayer. And you have to allow God to do the things that he's going to do with your spouse, because it's not for you to do anything. God is the only one that can do it. All you need to do is get in your war room and fight. Just like on that movie, that woman, once she discovered who her prayer partner was and she realized who she was and she began to identify who she was, she started to realize, you know what, it's taking too much of my energy to sit here and go back and forth with my husband, because guess what, when he's ready, he's going to stop doing what he's doing. Hello, I'm talking to somebody tonight. He's going to stop doing what he's doing. She's going to stop doing what she's doing, because guess what, she got in the war room and she decided that she was going to give it to God. She decided that she was going to write little sticklets on the mirror and say, God, this is my flaws as a wife. What am I doing as a wife? These are the flaws of my husband and how I want our family to run. She got down to the depths and she asked God to remove things that were there to help her get through her situation. Stop trying to fight the battle on your own. Give it to God and let him fight it. The husband can't fight against God. The wives can't fight against God. After a while, somebody's going to bow, because guess what? It's going to get to be too much. Their atmosphere is going to start to change. They're going to get uncomfortable when they're sleeping at night. They might be smoking a cigarette. They might just start choking. Hello, you got to do the work in your war room. Go to your war room so that you can pray for your spouses. Pray for them, y'all. It's not about you. It's not about pointing the blame or the finger. Sometimes we got to take another route. That other route isn't working for us anymore. We got to do something different. God says, come to me. I will change her. I will change him. You can't do nothing. So if you got your pen and your paper, I want you to take this. Number one, you need to be praying over your spouse. Pray that God keeps them in their health and in their mind and in their spirit. These are the things you need to go before God with every day. Every day. Your spouse needs your prayers. You don't know what they're battling with on the inside that they haven't released to you, but God knows what they're battling with. We spend too much time bickering. We don't got time for that, y'all. You are on assignment as husband and wife, and you are mandated to pray over your spouse. God didn't say that they were going to come to you perfect. There's a little work that has to be done in everybody. So don't get that twisted. There is work that has to be done in you, me, him, her. It's always going to be like that. Number two, learn to communicate. If something is wrong, you may need to address it right then and there, or you may need to both cool off and let it settle down and then come back to the table. Some of us, they hope, you got to talk to me now. No. Sometimes you might got to let that thing rest for a minute. You got to You know how you do when you're about to study a paper or something like that, and you got to do some research. You can't just go in there and just expect you know what you're doing. You're going to have to do a little bit of research. So that means that you're going to have to take some time to make sure that you're going to say the things that needs to be said before you say something you ain't supposed to be saying. Some of us don't want to do that. We want to take charge right now. Everything is right now. No, when it comes to your marriage, you got to think twice before you do everything. Everything. Because guess what? You don't want to hit a button that's going to cause more turbulence, more stress in the atmosphere. You got to be careful how you come into your spouse. So it never hurts to take a moment to think, you know what, I'll come back this in about 2 hours. I'm going to just hold up for a second. You got to be careful. You can't let your emotions move you into a bunch of mess that's going to come out of that. Because guess what? If the mess come out, then how are you resolving anything? Learn to communicate. Number 3, don't go to sleep and be angry. Stop making that a habit. You don't know if she gonna wake up. You don't know if you gonna wake up. You don't know what can happen in the course of 24 hours. You don't know anything. People do this all the time, and I don't understand how their conscious mind let them do it. And some of us is stubborn. You cannot do that. From this day forward, y'all need to make it a habit in your house that you do not lay down in that bed angry at one another. You don't lay down and be angry. You want to make sure that you clear the air by any means necessary. Number 4, allow your partner to grow and learn from their mistakes. And I'm going to let that rest for a minute. Some of us, we want everything to happen overnight. It just doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that, y'all. I can stand right here today and tell y'all I am still a work in progress. And my husband knows this from the depths of my heart, and he's still a work in progress. But as long as we praying and we walking together, it'll all work out for the good later on. You have to remember that. You can't keep throwing things up in your partner's face. Once you say, oh, it's over, and then 2 weeks later, you back at it again. Oh, you did this. Oh, you. No. Cut it out. You both need room for mistakes because that's how you grow. If you're not making no mistakes, I would be worried because ain't nothing perfect but God. So you have to allow each other to make these errors. That's how you're going to create the atmosphere you need to create. That's how you're going to keep the peace. That's how you're going to keep peace in your own mind because you know, oh my, I'm allowed to make this mistake. You don't never want to be with anybody that don't allow you to make a mistake. Because nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. You are still learning each and every day about yourself, let alone your spouse. Those things take time. And guess what, y'all? Ain't no manual out here telling us how to be married. There's no manual out here for that. But you have to trust God with this thing that He's giving you called marriage, that you can't back out when things look rocky. Some people got a tendency of running. Every time something happens, they just run. Stay still and fight and feel and release. It is okay to cry. It is okay if you walk in your room and you see your husband break down in tears. That don't mean he's weak. That means he's normal. He might be at his breaking point of release. When you're in marriage, you're in it together. You're fighting together. There are people that look in from the outside and they think things are very perfect or they think everything is all together, but they have no idea what you guys have endured. You have some people that will walk up and be like, oh, I love the way you and your husband is. I wish I had, You wish you had what? Sometimes when people say, I wish I had, and I'll be like, if you only knew. If you only knew what we had to go through and what we have endured with our babies before the babies. I don't even know if you could even process it. Number 5, push your spouse into greatness. Be aware of their dreams and their visions. Some of us can be so self-centered in marriages. Well, we only think about me, 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 me. Have you ever sat down and asked your husband or your wife, what is it in your heart that you would like to do? What can I help you with? What can I push you into? And sometimes if they're not motivated right away, don't get discouraged by that. Understand that everything is timing and everything is a process. And just because it may be your season to launch, they may be still in preparation for their launch. Y'all launches may not happen at the same time. But that doesn't mean that one is better than the other or one is doing more than the other. It just means that it's not time yet. And some of us need to understand that your partner needs to hear you say you can do it. Your partner needs to hear you say, don't give up. Your partner needs to hear you say, baby, I'm standing right here. I'm rooting for you. I'm your biggest fan. You got to understand that you got to feed your partner. You know how, like, we feed our kids when they're in them high chairs and things like that, and they not old enough to feed themselves? Sometimes you got to feed them. Because, again, you never know what happened. Where was the change? Why do you feel like you can't accomplish this or that? You got to go to the root of the issue. Sometimes it's deeper than where your mind took you. You can't assume. If your spouse hears you say that they're great and they're going to be marvelous and that they're going to exceed above and beyond, you don't know what that can do to their self-esteem and their heart. You got to feed your spouse with every inner being that you have so that you can keep them on the right track, because one little thing can really send them somewhere else. You got to make sure that you don't forget about them. Because it's not all about you. Remember, you got somebody else running in the race with you, and y'all are supposed to run together. So be aware of their dreams. Be aware of the things that they love and that is dear to their hearts, that you can help them get to and reach their goals. Because if they're not happy, that home ain't going to be happy. If you're the only one doing what you want to do, there's going to be a problem. So you got to make sure both of y'all is happy. The next one, y'all, wives, it is okay to allow your husbands to lead the family. And this is a huge one. I'm going to tell y'all this is a big, huge one. Because some of us wives are not allowing these husbands to do their jobs. And that does not mean to sit quiet and not say anything. It means that you can have an opinion, but you need to trust that your husband is going to do the right thing for that family. You can't be so quick to throw your hand in there and say, you know what, I don't trust that this is going to work out. Let me do something. Sometimes allow him to take control because that's what he's set up to do. That's what he's supposed to do. And you have to have faith as his backbone and his right-hand man to be able to allow him to do what he needs to do for that family and make conscious and right decisions. And this is a serious thing with marriages these days because women always feel like we got to take control over everything when sometimes we really just need to sit back and just let the husbands deal and do what they do. Because if you wanted to be the husband, you should have just stayed by yourself if you wanted to control everything. See, in marriage, you have to take the I's and the me's out. And you got to start replacing it with we. Both of us. We're going to. You got to understand that it's not anymore just about you, or it's not you. It's us. It's y'all. Y'all got to do this thing together. Y'all got to walk this walk together. There's no separate identity in marriage when you're trying to get things accomplished the right way. Don't get me wrong, all of us have our own identities. But when you're married, it's something there that's so much bigger and so much greater that married couples should be doing, right? And it has to be healthy and it has to be right. And it kind of goes into, yes, the husband is the head, but wives, don't lose your voice, but know your boundaries. Know your boundaries. And again, trust that he's making the right decision for your family. That's where that war room comes back in. You go into that war room and you go before God and you lay your husband on that altar and you allow God to do what he's going to do with your husband, and you leave it there and you put your faith there and just watch God move. That's all you got to do. And allow him to keep working to be a better him, and you keep working to be a better you. Don't just stop right there, because we all can get better. Don't just assume that you got it all together, because you don't. And the most important thing is, and I think now I'm trailing into number 9. I'm kind of moving fast tonight, y'all, as it's flowing. Please, wives, do not lose yourself when you have children. My husbands and my wives, I need you guys to hear me when I'm saying this to you. Because some of us think because we have children, we can't have date night. Some of y'all think, oh, that is not true. You got to make it work. You got to strive to make it work, you guys. Fight for those date nights. Do whatever you got to do. But to keep those flames burning in your marriage. And my last tip of that would be to remember why you fell in love in the first place. Remember why you fell in love in the first place. And keep people out of your marriage, because that will ruin it. You got issues. Sometimes it's best to be quiet and take it to God. Some of us do the opposite and take it to people. And some of those people that you're going to, they don't know nothing about being married, or they don't know nothing about your situation, or they can't give you no advice. Some of them might be walking around bitter, so they don't give you their bitter insight. That's what they're going to do. So be very, very careful with who you're telling your issues to, if you're having any in your marriages. Be very, very careful with that. I pray tonight that it has helped and inspired you all. I pray that this is going to give you some tools to go through another day in your marriage, and that you fight for your marriages, that you keep your marriages within God so that He can continue to bless it, right? And don't be afraid to go to your war rooms to fight for your marriages. So I hope that you guys share this broadcast with anybody that you feel that is going to bless. I hope that I have motivated you and empowered you tonight in this area. I told y'all this show was going to be way, way different, just because I really allow God to take me there to deal with the issues, and it has all to do with faith and purpose, right? So if you guys have any questions or concerns, or just want to hit me and talk to me about any advice, you can always feel free to email me at faithandpurpose32@gmail.com. Also, you can find me on Facebook at Lakia Barnett and inbox me. And if you are a woman and you're looking for inspirational messages and encouragement, please find I Am a Woman of God support group, and I will be happy to add you to my group and motivate you and inspire you and push you into your destiny. I thank you all so very, very much for your support. I pray that you guys will spread the word, because I am on a journey going into 2018 to touch so many lives, because I feel that it's so very necessary. And I just thank God for allowing me to be the vessel that He uses to help His people, because there's so many hurting people out here in their marriages, some of them that are, single and things like that. It's so many different elements that I can touch upon, and I'm going to touch upon that people need to hear inspiration. They need to hear motivation. We are in times that are very, very crucial. And I think that in marriages, the devil, he's lurking. The enemy is mad because some people are still fighting and they're still married. And just remember that divorce is not an option. You have to before you get to that point, go back to the table, go seek counseling, go find out, what is the root of the issue. Because some of us, we just use the quickest thing to escape from our problems, and that's just to say, I'm gone. No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to be afraid to, allow yourself to be vulnerable in these moments to deal with what you need to deal with. And you don't have to be whoever your family line is. You don't have to be that. Some of you think in your mind that, because my mother and father got divorced, that means I'm going to be divorced. So that means you're walking around with fear. You don't have to walk around with that. You can cut that off at the root and say, you know what, in Jesus' name, I will not be like that. I will not go through that. So you can speak these things into existence and to manifest itself. So don't ever, feel like that. And I really just, pray that tonight it has touched you all in so many different ways. And I hope that you will continue to come and tune in with me week after week at 8 p.m. on Tuesday nights. And again, I'm just so very blessed to be able to be before you despite of everything that has possibly happened before tonight. I just thank you for allowing me to be me, because, it's nothing like not being able to be yourself. So I appreciate you guys very, very much. And again, like, if you guys have any questions, any advice that you may need, do not forget to hit my email at facingpurpose32@gmail.com. And you guys are mandated to keep inviting your family and your friends to this broadcast, because even if you didn't hear anything that sat well with you or that was for you, it may have been for somebody else. So remember to always share the blessing, because it's not always for you. You know, sometimes you might just have to be the messenger to carry it along to somebody else. So, you know, and I want to just let you guys know really, really quick that on January the 6th, 2018, I'm hosting my first workshop, and it is called Activating Your Vision in Your Struggle. And I want you guys, if you guys are in the Washington, D.C. area, or may know people that are in the Washington, D.C. area, I will be at the Anacostia Library in the 3rd conference room on January the 6th at 3:30 p.m. And I will be walking you guys through tips and things that I've used to kind of maneuver me through my struggle and still be able to walk out my vision. Is that okay with you guys? And I hope it is, and I hope that you guys will be able to pass that information along to anybody who needs it. And I just look forward to all of the future endeavors with you guys. I hope that you guys are just being blessed, and I hope that you guys also go and watch The War Room if you haven't already. Make sure that you go look at that movie with your husband and your wife, and you sit down and you discuss everything, and you cry together, and you laugh together, and you do everything that you need to do to keep your marriage going. So I just wanted to leave you guys with that. And wow, you guys, I'm just so breathless right now, because I just have to say that I am truly, truly excited about 2018, and I just want you to stay encouraged, stay motivated, stay inspired, stay positive, kick out all of the negative. And I want to leave you with this. This is my slogan I always use, and I believe that God purposely gave me this in the early part of this year, once I got my book published. And, don't forget, go on Amazon. Look for Slay, Pray, Believe, Lakia Barnett. The book will bless you very, very much. So please go and get your copy of that. But I want to leave you with Slay is for you don't have to look like what you go through or what you are going through. Pray because you need the power of prayer to help maneuver you through your journey. Believe is because it is mandated that you believe in everything that you're doing, that you have faith, regardless if you can see it or not. So if you ever feel like you're kind of wavering a little bit, remember that slogan. Remember what I told you tonight. Slay, pray, and believe. Take it with you. Share it with somebody else. Eat, breathe, and sleep it every day, because it is the truth. It is the truth, and it helped me to get through everything that I've gone through up until this point. So I know that it will be able to help you. And remember, take it to God. Don't hold it. Don't try to fix it. Let God do it for you. You rest tonight and leave all of your cares in His hands. Even when you definitely don't think that it's going to be okay, I want you to do that. I want you to do that. Because everything is for a reason, you guys, okay? So I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in to Facing Purpose. And you guys be blessed. I love you all. And thank you for all of the support. And you guys have a great night. Bye.